Hi, hello, welcome. My name's Randy and I love everything crochet. And if you love everything crochet, you should definitely subscribe to my channel and go follow my Instagram, which is put down below. Today we are making a new Pokemon friend. Now I am going to really quickly add like whites to his eyes because I think it'll take his character to the next level, but do you have any guesses of what he could be? It is Bewear. I don't love his eyes because I did embroider them way too thick, and if I would have cut them out, it would have damaged like the integrity of the yarn itself with how I embroidered them in. So they're kind of stuck there. Like I said, I'm going to add a little bit of white to his eyes because this is a gift. My friend wanted this one, and I felt like I could make him, which I think I did a good job with his body. It's just cover up the eyes. I don't really care for them. Anyways, so I have his arms sticking out like he is going to give you a hug like he's commonly portrayed as. And in case you're wondering, used a little over 1 skein of black, less than 1 skein of pink, and just a little bit of white. So if you're looking to make this, that's how much yarn you'll need. If you want to use the exact yarn I use, which is 94 yards, 98 yards, something like that, it is down below in the description. I also say it while I'm making it, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with basically the butt, the bottom of the Bewear. I sometimes start with the head, but more recently I've started like the rounded bottom and go up, and I found that to be like just shape wise it turns out a lot better. And I'm using the Keche fluffy yarn. This is just in black. And this is from Amazon. I don't know where else you can get it. I just tend to get it from Amazon. I'm using a 5.5mm hook, and I can't find my stitch marker, so we're using that instead. To start, we want to do a magic ring. If you are like me and not very good at a magic ring, I do 1, 2, 3, 4 single, or like 4 starting chain, go into your first stitch, pull it all through to create a single loop. Can't really see with black fluffy yarn, so I am gonna apologize for that. But we will do 6 stitches into the center of our loop, and then I'm going to attempt to use this stitch marker, this makeshift stitch marker for right now. So we're going to do 6 stitches into the center, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they don't fully come like to touch, but I don't really have enough room for 2 more. So I'm just gonna leave it at this 6 there. Gonna remove my makeshift stitch marker here. And I'm gonna put 2 stitches in every stitch. So I went into the first stitch, because I am expanding, I'm doubling up. Gonna attempt to mark my stitch here. Okay, so I have my stitch marked, and I'm gonna go back into that same previous round stitch a second time. And then I'm going to do that all the way around. So I went into that one, I go back into that one for another single crochet stitch, go into the third one once, then twice, because we are doubling up. So we're going from 6 stitches to 12. For the next round, you're going to put 2 stitches into the first. So you're going to double up the stitches, and then you're going to do a single stitch. Then you're going to put 2 stitches in the next, then a single stitch, repeating all the way around. So you're going from 12 stitches to 18 stitches. Next round, 2 stitches in the first, then a single stitch, then a second single stitch in the next one. So you have 2 stitches going into one, then in the second one, and then in the third one you have single stitches, then 2 stitches, then 2 single, then 2 stitches, then 2 single. So you'll go from 18 single stitches, 18 single crochet stitches to 24. Next round, 2 stitches into the first, then 1, 2, 3 single stitches, then 2 stitches in the next, then 1, 2, 3 single, repeating all the way around. Next round, 2 stitches in the first, then 1, 2, 3, 4 single stitches, then 2 stitches in the next, then 4, repeating all the way around. Next round, 2 stitches in the first, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single stitches, then 2 stitches in the next, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, repeating all the way around. So we are now going to start working upwards for like the actual body. The back half of the body is pink, the front half is black until we get to the head, which switches to pink and white. So I'm going to add pink for approximately halfway through, and I'm going to use the same brand yarn, but this is in the color baby pink, and it is like a really bright, like I guess like Barbie pink. So for our last stitch, instead of pulling our yarn through, going to switch to pink here. So I'm gonna go into my stitch here, gonna pull a loop through, and then what I pull all the way through will be pink. Really love this color. I'm gonna have to find some other things to make with it. And now we are going to take out the stitch marker. Oops, let me not get both colors. And we are going to just do a single stitch in every stitch all the way around. So every stitch, just a single stitch. And we're going to go with the pink halfway around. So once I get basically straight across, I'm going to switch back to black. So I have kind of my front and my back going here, but just do a single stitch, and you can see this much better. The contrast of the pink and the black make it a lot easier to see. But once you get about halfway around, once again, I left my stitch on there, and I'm gonna finish it with the black yarn instead of the pink to switch back to black. And luckily, I only really like to do this, like switch back and forth when they're kind of a tube shape like this. When I'm gonna give any like reducing or increasing, I generally like to add the other color later because I find that to be a lot easier. It doesn't get too complicated with the switching of the yarn and everything like that. And I'm also gonna go ahead and tie these off to make it easier on myself. I know some people don't cut the yarn. That is more, I would say it's probably uses about the same amount of yarn as when it goes across, but a lot of times I find myself with the yarn too tight across here, so I have to cut it anyways. So I just go ahead and cut it, tie them off. But what I was saying is, since he's kind of a tube shape, very like cylindrical, this is going to be, I think, the easier way to do it. And I'm going to do some rounds off camera. So this was our first round, and then we will continue doing the same exact thing, just a single stitch in every stitch, starting with pink halfway across, switching to the black. And I will let you know exactly how many rounds I do before we get to the top of the head where it'll be all pink. I did 12 rounds of staying the same to get kind of the actual body. This is going to be like the base, this will be the body, and now we're going to work on the head. And it does have a white detailing on the head, but it's primarily pink. So I am going to do more rounds of staying the same, but this time it's going to all be pink. So I'm going to switch back over to pink. switch to pink for this round. And this round we're just going to do a single stitch in every stitch, repeating all the way around, except this time we will just use pink. We will not switch back to the black color halfway around. We're just going to do pink all the way around for a to be determined amount of rounds, and we'll do the detailing afterwards. So we're just going to focus on the plain pink head. I think the next time I'll touch base with you guys is doing the eyes and the face. So until then, do a single stitch in every stitch all the way around. I did 10 rounds of staying the same for the pink. And now I'm going to go ahead and start on the face. Now this is a face that definitely requires some embroidery because of his eyes are very specific. But we'll start with the muzzle, and then we'll work our way to the eyes. So I'm going to use the same yarn. I think this is, in cream. And I'm going to do a starting chain. We're not going to do rounds of 5. And I know it's going to be hard to see, but I'm going to go into each stitch here. So 1, 2, you skip the first stitch, but go into each stitch after the first stitch for a total of 4. And we're going to go back into the end one, kind of turning ourselves around, and then go into the bottom stitches. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4 across the bottom. And then we're going to go back into that same stitch again for 1, and then we're going to go into it again, 2, and then we're going to flip, go back into this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go back into it, 5, and go into the end again. I know that was really complicated. It might be one that unfortunately did not make a ton of sense. I hope it did. Please let me know specifically for this part if it made sense so I can kind of adjust, because I haven't shown that before and it's hard to see with the fluffy yarn. But I'm going to cut and I'm going to embroider on the nose and then stitch this part on, because this is going to be his muzzle. He does kind of have a point on the bottom, but because it's fluffy yarn, it's going to be a little hard to see. I just have some acrylic yarn. This is a nice thick acrylic yarn, which if you are using fluffy yarn, you definitely want a nice thick one. And I'm going to start out with the little crease that is I guess, equal to his mouth. And then we are going to border the nose, which isn't quite a square. And as you can see, this is why you want to use nice thick yarn, because the fluffy yarn just eats it up. But I'm going to kind of start by loosely embroidering on here, the nose. And you want to do loose embroidery, because if you do it too tight, the yarn will just, even if it's thick, still just get lost. And I'm just going to kind of try and keep the fluffy yarn from getting in the way to the best of my ability. And embroider away a nose. So I'm going to kind of do either side. I'm going to go to about here. And then do the same on the other side. And just embroider a slightly rounded, slightly triangular shape nose. This is definitely a part where I say follow your heart, do whatever you think looks the best. And here is the embroidered nose. I'm going to kind of work all this cream out of the way, but then I'm going to stitch it on. And as you can see, I need a little more room to embroider on the eyes, and we are to the point where we're going to start reducing. So we're gonna do all that next. I am about to stitch on the muzzle, but I really quickly wanted to show you the next step on the actual body, which we are going to start reducing. And if you generally know reducing patterns, then you kind of know what I'm about to do, but if not, I'm going to weave through my first stitch, put a loop on, weave through my second stitch, put a loop on, and then pull a loop all the way through. So I'm reducing 2 stitches into 1. That is a term I'll use through the rest of this video, for meaning I am shrinking, reducing the amount of stitches. Oh my goodness, I miss having my stitch markers. I hope I can find it again soon. Okay, there we go. And then we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 single crochet stitches. I stopped increasing at 5, and I like to go up 1 for the reducing, just because I find that it reduces a lot more smooth. And then I'm going to reduce 2 stitches into 1, so go through the first loop, go through the second stitch, 2 loops are on, then pull my stitch all the way through, creating 1 singular stitch, then 6, and I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around. Next round, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 5 single stitches, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 5, repeating all the way around. Reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 4 single stitches, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 4, repeating the pattern all the way around. Before I close the head up more, I'm going to go ahead and add the eyes. I already did one to kind of get an idea of how I wanted them to look. And basically I am going to just once again embroider similarly to how I did the nose, but I kind of pick like the high spot here and then just go out from there. I will say mine are a little rounded compared to what they should be. I think his are a little bit taller and skinnier, but you know what? I like how they look, or how that one looks, I should say. So I'm just going to kind of stick with it. And once again, this is definitely a go with your heart part. Just go with your yarn needle and create some eyes however you like. You could still definitely use safety eyes if that's your preference. I am just going to embroider mine on. Reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 1, 2, 3 single stitches, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 3 single, repeating the pattern all the way around. Reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 2 single stitches, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then 2 single, repeating all the way around. Reduce 2 stitches into 1, then a single stitch, reduce 2 stitches into 1, then a single, repeating all the way around. After that last round, I'm basically going to weave in and out through these top stitches here to seal the hole shut. All right, so for the legs and arms, they're going to generally be the same thing. The legs, I just did a little shorter because he does have shorter legs than the arms. And unfortunately, I was really hoping I could get through this with 1 skein of yarn, but I am 1 arm short of 1 skein of black. So that is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I had like a little bit left of my other skein, but definitely not even close to enough to making another arm. So we're gonna do a magic ring. And then we are going to do 6 stitches into the center. Basically the same we did with the body. And then after you do 6 stitches into the center, we're going to do 2 stitches in every stitch. So we're expanding, we're doubling up, whichever is your preferred. So we're going from 6 stitches to 12. So I'm going to go back in that same stitch for another one, then double it up again. We're going to do that all the way around. Then after that round, we're now just going to do a single stitch in every stitch, repeating all the way around to get more of this shape. So for the legs, I did 6 rounds of staying the same, so they're nice and short and chunky. In the arms, I did 8. So I did what we just saw, and now I'm going to do 8 rounds of 12 stitches to create the arms, and 6 rounds of 12 stitches to create the legs. You'll want 2 legs and 2 I went ahead and to attach the arms and legs. The arms I kind of tried to stitch where they're stretched out, because a lot of times, especially in like the cards and stuff like that, you see his arms stretched out like he's coming in for a hug. You could also add like his little toenail detailing, and his little paw detailing would be very cute. But next I'm going to add the white that goes around his head here. So I did a starting chain of 16, and then I'm just going to do a simple, which you cannot see since it's fluffy yarn. I'm going to skip the first stitch, go into the second, and I'm going to do a row of 15 single crochet stitches into my cream yarn here. I just did the 1 row, and now I'm going to stitch it across his head so I can then add the ears, because this almost looks like a headband in the pictures, and I want to also add the little pink tufts. I went ahead and crocheted and attached the ears to make sure I like how they look. This, similarly to the arms and legs, are going to be the same base. This one you just do 3 rounds, this one you do 5 or 6, one or the other, depending on how long you want it. But once again, we're going to do a magic ring to start for all of the ears, the little one and the longer one. And then in your magic ring, you're going to once again put 6 stitches into the center. Once you do your 6 stitches into the center, for the short one, you will do 3 rounds of 6 single crochet stitches. For the larger one, you'll do, I believe, 6 rounds. So 3 and then 6. Both have just the 6 stitches into the center, and then you are going to stay the same. Then once again for the tail, we're going to do our magic ring, and we're going to do 6 stitches into the center, basically the same we did with the arms and the ears to start. Then for the tail, because we want it a little wider but not quite as thick as the arms, we're going to do 2 stitches into one, then a single stitch, then 2 stitches into the next, then a single, and we're going to do that all the way around. So you should have 9 crochet stitches for this. So 2 stitches into this last one, then a single, and then we're just going to do single crochet stitches in every stitch, and we're going to do this for 8 rounds. And then once you assemble everything, including the tail, you have your Bewear. I don't love his eyes, but I think other than that, I think he turned out really cute. I might add like a little touch of white onto his eyes, and that might help. But yes, his little arms are sticking out to add a little character, and he is done. If you enjoyed, please go follow my Instagram and subscribe to my channel for other crochet crafts, as well as I have other Pokemon that you can make on my channel as well. I have several other tutorials of Pokemon.